Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, Eva. In case this is the first time you watch my video, I am Chinese. I was born and raised in China, and I moved overseas to study and now work in the UK. People ask me many interesting questions about my country when they know I'm Chinese. And one of the most common ones I get nowadays is actually about traveling tips. Well, I find this very interesting because China was never known to be a touristy destination. You don't go there for a long holiday as a family tradition, for example. But now it's actually becoming quite trendy. So today, I've summarized 10 things I think you should know about when visiting China. Because I do go back to China to visit my family and friends, but also I travel to other Western countries for holidays. So I picked so many differences every now and then. And I will also teach you some very practical Mandarin phrases that you can use when you're in there.
What is a good time to visit China?
I would suggest you to stay away from Chinese national holidays and Chinese New Year. In China, we have these national holidays, which is the equivalent version of bank holidays in Europe. And it can last from 1 day to 7 days long. Also in China, the average paid holidays, excluding these national holidays, is only around 10 days. As a result, many people will just choose to travel across the country during the national holidays, so you effectively have the entire country on the road. There was a story about some guys, they traveled to Huangshan to see the sunrise, which is supposed to be really amazing. So they're really excited, get up early in the morning, get all the gears. But by the time they arrived at the viewing platform, it was already fully occupied by other hundreds, if not thousands of Chinese people. They still managed to see the sunrise just through someone's crotch. I find this story really funny. It's a true story, by the way, but it's very sad, and you definitely don't want this to happen to yourself because it's just an awful experience. Chinese New Year, on the other hand, is the opposite of national holidays. It's just like Christmas, where everyone would just stay in and spend the time with their families, and you would have loads of places shut. So if you travel around that time, you're pretty much in an empty city. So how do you avoid these? Unfortunately, there is no set time for Chinese New Year and some of the national holidays, as they are scheduled according to the traditional Chinese lunar calendar year. But you can just Google, say, 2020 Chinese New Year, and Google will tell you the exact date of this, so you can then plan your holidays around these dates.
Does a language barrier still exist?
您好，要点什么呀? Can I get the chicken, please? Chicken? Chicken 什么？鸡、鸭、鸽子、鸭翅。Chicken. Yes, chicken. Thank you. 好的。Unfortunately, yes, language barrier is still a thing in China. It is less so in much bigger cities like Beijing and Shanghai, and younger generation tend to speak pretty decent English. However, the majority of the population still don't understand or speak English. So it'll be pretty tough and challenging to travel across the country and try to communicate in English, French, Italian, etc. So the advice is pretty simple. Try to get yourself a decent enough translator app which can enable you to communicate with the locals more efficiently. 您好，要点什么呀? Oh, hi. Can I have the chicken, please? Chicken? One sec. Chicken. There you go. 鸡腿，好的，没问题。鸡腿，好的，您稍等。
Do I need phone service?
Yes, you do. I would personally recommend you to get the phone service and data package set up from your current provider before you travel to China. For me, I use data all the time when I'm traveling. I use it for Instagram, WhatsApp, and navigation apps. In China, you can find free Wi-Fi access in most of the public places like hotels, restaurants, airports, museums, and even on metros in some cities, which is super convenient. However, you need to have the phone service to be able to enjoy all of these benefits. For example, in the Pudong airport in Shanghai, they offer you this 2-hour unlimited free Wi-Fi access, but they will first send you the verification code on the text message. You then need to put in the verification code on the browsing page before you can have the free Wi-Fi access. Another example is some restaurants in China, you need to scan the barcode, use the data, and then it will take you to this WeChat page of the restaurants or hotels, and then you need to subscribe to their account, to their WeChat account, and then you have the free Wi-Fi. So this sounds a bit complicated and kind of defeats the whole point of having the free Wi-Fi, but hey, this is how things work in China, and if you're aware of this and have things ready before you go, you will just be able to enjoy all of these benefits in a much smoother way.
Anything else?
There's one more thing for you to be aware of, is the so-called the Great Chinese Wall. If you've never heard about this before, I'm not referring to the great architecture in Beijing, which is magnificent. I'm talking about the equally magnificent Chinese internet firewall, which blocks everything out. Essentially, this means you can't have access to all the apps you use when you're in your own country, such as Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube, Snapchat, and Google. So if you're thinking about using Google Translator or Google Map when you're traveling in China, it's basically a no-no. However, there's a way to go around this. You can use VPN. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. It essentially creates some private IP address to fool the internet to make them think that you're somewhere outside of China, and then you can have all the access back. There are many VPNs out there, and some of them provide free trials, but I'd recommend you to get some legitimate ones with good quality, such that the internet speed will just be very fast and stable.
Can I pay by card?
Well, the answer is yes and no. It really depends on where you're going and what providers you use. In general, UnionPay is the most common one in China, whereas Visa, Master, and MasterCards are not always accepted everywhere. You might see some Chinese people are using their phones to make transactions. They scan the barcode and within seconds things are done. Well, don't get too confused. This is because Chinese people use Alipay or WeChat Pay as their digital wallets. However, you need to have a Chinese bank account to be able to link this to your WeChat and Alipay. So the solution for you guys is A, to take cash with you, as almost all the places will take cash payments, or B, bring different cards with you with different providers to increase the probability of one of them to be accepted.
Now I'm in China. What should I pack in my day bag?
Always take a pack of tissue and a bottle of sanitizer when you go to public toilets in China. It is a shame, but not all of them provide these two things to people. In some cases, it's because there are so many visitors and the staff don't have enough time to refill the essentials. But in other cases, it's really just a matter of poor quality infrastructure and facility. So when I grew up in China, I kind of developed a habit of always bringing these two things with me wherever I go, because I don't want to end up in a situation where I was taking the number 2 and I reach out to the box and realize the box is empty. So yeah, guys, just make sure you pack these two things wherever you go. They're really light and don't take much space anyway. And most importantly, you'll be very grateful if you have them with you when you're in need.
Any transportation recommendation?
Oh, there are quite a few different options. If you're traveling across the country, intercity, you can choose to take the planes. Flight tickets are quite affordable in China, and you can find direct flights from one city to another city very easily. Major cities would have their own airports, and you can find English instructions easily, so you don't need to worry about getting lost either. You can also book those flight tickets well in advance from different provider websites. The one I'd like to recommend is called ctrip.com. It has its own English version, which is very user-friendly for foreigners. I'd also recommend the high-speed railway system. It is very efficient and is especially useful if you're going to places that aren't covered by the airlines. The other upside is that you get to save the time spent on the check-in process when you take the planes. It does come with drawbacks too. First, it only allows you to book 60 days in advance, which means you probably need to wait until quite close to the time, but it's not a big issue if you're not traveling during one of those prime seasons like Chinese national holidays. Second, when you're booking on their website or over the phone calls, you need to know the language, because their website is not in English and doesn't have an English version. And if you can't speak Mandarin either to book over the phone, then you're only left with one option, which is to book in person at the train station. But if you have the passport and have the translator app with you, it's quite straightforward and you should be able to successfully book the tickets in person.
Any shopping tips?
哎，你好，哎，这个茶壶吗？500块钱一口价，我这小本买卖啊，500块钱。哎，没问题，那您拿好嘞。哎，您真爽快，谢谢谢谢，我数数啊。好的好的，谢谢谢谢，再见。Bargain, bargain, bargain. This is a rule that applies to small boutique shops rather than big department stores, because those smaller shops tend to inflate the price to double or even triple its actual price. It is not a tourist trap per se, because they do this to local peoples as well. It is more a cultural norm for people to bargain down the price. So if you're not buying something urgently or you didn't find this thing to be that unique, you can just walk around and cross-compare the prices. Or if you have a price in mind, don't be shy to offer and don't hesitate to walk away if they refuse to take it. Because the trick is tend to be, oh, this is really too low and I don't want to accept it. If they say this, you can just walk away, and if the owner think your price is actually reasonable, they will chase after you and get you back.
哎，您好，哎，这个茶壶500块钱，小本买卖。什么？200？那不行，这太低了，我这……哎，您别走啊！哎，等，200，行，那就200给您了，好吧？我这也就卖个这个人情给你，200，行，给我吧。哎，200。
How's it like to eat out in China?
Oh God, can you not see me? Excuse me. Hello? Unlike Western restaurants, Chinese restaurants can be very noisy and busy. People like to talk a lot when they eat in China. And also, unless you're going to some fancy Michelin-style type of places, don't expect waiters and waitresses to come around to your table every 10 or 15 minutes to check in with you and ask, how are you doing? How may I help you? Is everything okay? You don't get that sort of services. So in China, if you are keen to order or pay for the bill, don't hesitate to raise your hand and shout, or even to just walk up to them to get the attention and get what you need. Otherwise, you could be waiting there for a while. Hello?
Hi, excuse me. Here, I need to order.
Yeah, can I have a chicken leg with a bowl of rice, please? Thank you. Another thing is to always check the portion of the food with the restaurant, because some places in China you can get really big portion food with really cheap prices. So you might be thinking I can get 5 dishes in this place and ended up taking away 4 of them as leftover because you can't finish them simply.
I feel like a pro now. Any last piece of advice?
Be aware of the scams. One of the most popular ones is called tea ceremony, and it's mainly targeting at Western people. So when you just leave the airport or train station, or you walk out of the hotel, some people could walk to you with really friendly faces and claim themselves to be Chinese students. And they will say, oh, we're going to this really cool Chinese tea ceremony, and do you want to join us? So if you're not careful, you might just follow them. What's going to happen afterwards is they will take you to this mediocre traditional Chinese ceremony, and you'll be paying a ridiculously high price for it. Other scam is called the ticket tricks. So when you're near some really popular sightseeing places and you couldn't get the tickets for the day, some people might come to you and say, oh, you just need to pay us this extra money and we can give you the tickets. Be very careful with those type of people. Some of them can truly provide you the tickets, and if you don't mind paying a little extra money, you can get what you want. But some people, they're just having fake tickets and trying to scam you for money. So my overall advice is try to book these sort of things well in advance with legitimate local agencies. Okay, so this is all for today. Thank you so much again for watching. And if you want to see more of my content, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!